This next section is going to be on the Mastering POE page of your textbook. So we're going to begin on page 54. So this section is all about recognizing the trap answers that College Board gives on reading questions and teaching you how to use the process of elimination to eliminate those wrong answers. So in order to master the process of elimination, you are leaving yourself with the answer that is the right answer. Even if you don't completely love it or you don't feel like it's the best answer, it's the right answer is what you're looking for. So instead of trying to identify the right answer, you want to identify the wrong answers, which will leave you with the right one. So when you're looking at the SAT, the best answers are supported by the text of the passage. They agree with the main idea of the passage, and they answer the question that's being asked. So when you're reading the answer choices, read carefully because College Board loves to include trap answers that look good on the surface but really aren't correct. As a reminder, when you're going through the answer choices, you need to give it a check if you like it, an X if it's wrong, or a little squiggly if you are not sure. This is going to help you quickly eliminate the wrong answers and focus on finding the right one. So easy enough, our first situation we learned about last time was a situation like this. In this case, what would be the right answer? Correct. The right answer is C, and we're going to circle it. But remember, we're not going to bubble it in until we finish an entire passage of the reading section. So we might write C in the margin so that we can bubble it in easily later. Now, let's imagine we have a situation like this. What could we do in this situation? A lot of people think you should do letter of the day. But if your letter of the day is not one of these two letters, that strategy is not going to work. Remember, letter of the day is only letter of the day, not letter of the hour, not letter of the minute, not letter of the question. So in this case, your two options are to just guess if you're running short on time, because if you've narrowed it down to two potential right answers, you've got a 50% chance of getting it right. Or if you have a little more time on your side, go back and reread. Then pick your favorite, circle it, put a check mark, and write it in the margin. Okay. Next, in the case where you had something like this, like a maybe and a check mark, since we're concerned about time, we're going to go with the check mark because that's the one you're most confident about, and we'll write that one in the margin. Finally, if you end up with a situation like this, where they're all wrong, then this is an opportunity where you can do the letter of the day and pick the one that works best for you. So a lot of times you might get down to two answers and then feel stuck, or you might feel like you're always picking the wrong answer. And a lot of times that's because College Board is really good at creating attractive wrong answers. So we're going to talk today about the traps they try to set to trick you. So one of the common trap answers is called mostly right, slightly wrong. And if you also are used to taking College Board's AP exams, they also love this type. This trap answer mostly looks perfect, but it doesn't quite say what it needs to. So even if all of the answer is correct, but one word is wrong, you can eliminate that choice. The entire answer has to be supported by the text in order for the answer choice to be correct. Really, really watch yourself when you see big generalizing terms like only, never, must, always, because it's very rare that in all cases something would be true or that something would never be true. So make sure that when you're looking at those answers, if you see one of those words, that should be a red flag that it's probably a trap. Another one is the could be true. So this trap answer is usually when you get to the last two answer choices and one of the answers really, really makes sense. You're like, oh, that could be true. And if I had time, I could really justify it and support it. But it's not really actually found in the text. This is a could be true. So, for example, when we were reading about the criminals, it might ask, what is Darrow's opinion of criminals? And he might have said, all criminals are bad. Well, that could be true because that is something that a lot of people think. But if you really go back to the text and look at it and it's not supported, then it's wrong. So this is where you following the steps of the basic approach is extremely important, because if you are not underlining in the text and predicting your answer, then you're going to be tempted to justify these could be true answers in your brain, because your brain's going to tell you that it's probably true. But if you go back and actually look at what the text says, then it's probably wrong. The third type of trap answer is the deceptive language trap. And this is pretty common if you're just matching words and phrases from what you've seen before or what you've seen in the text to the answer choices. So they're going to give you choices that look really familiar or have words that look very similar. And that's going to be a way that they try to trick you, especially because if you haven't read, which you aren't because we're teaching you not to, those might be a way to trick you. So these three trap answers are pretty common and you need to watch out for them. We're now going to turn the page and focus on some trap answers. So the trap answers are based on the passage that is on page 56. While we're here, let's go ahead and review the basic approach. What should we do first? Yes, the correct answer is to read the blurb. So go ahead and take a moment to read the blurb and then tell me what this passage is about. Is it a history passage, a social studies passage, a science passage, or a literature passage? Great. It is a history passage. Now, thinking about your personal order of difficulty, you can consider whether you would choose to use this passage or not as one of your 3 passages you're going to complete. Let's pretend, though, that you chose this one. We're going to move on to the next page, which is page 57, which includes some trap answers. So take a look at question number 12. Step 2 of the basic approach is to select and understand the question. Would you choose to do this question? Yes, because of that line reference. Now we have to understand the question. Is it a what or a why question? That's right, it's a why question. So I'm going to write why here in the margin. And I'm going to try to do it in cursive. There we go. All right. Now, step 3 is to read 5 lines above and 5 lines below. So go ahead and read lines 6 through 25. As you read, make sure that you underlined the portion in the text that answers why he's using this effect. What did you underline? Go ahead and type it in the box. Hopefully, you underlined something close to the following. You may rejoice, I must mourn. Do you mean citizens to mock me by asking me to speak today? That line is really where we figure out why he's saying this. Is he trying to demonstrate how upset he is about the speech he's about to give? Right, he is not. We're going to X that out. Is he trying to highlight the irony of asking a slave to speak about a holiday whose theme is liberty? Yes. So we'll put a check mark and we'll circle it. Notice these questions already eliminate 2 answers. They're assuming that you have already eliminated these 2, and these are the 2 we've come down to. One of them is a trap. Answer C is a trap, and it's a could be true. If you read the blurb, you would have remembered that Frederick Douglass is a former slave. So yes, he's probably upset that he has to give a speech. That could be true, but is it supported by the text? If you go back and read what we underlined, you may rejoice, I must mourn. Do you mean citizens to mock me by asking me to speak today? He's really talking about, do you think this is funny that you're asking me to speak? This is very ironic. So that's why answer choice D is our correct answer. But notice C, if you didn't underline in the text, you might have picked that one because it definitely could be true. Looking at number 13 now, I would choose to attempt. Yes, because it has a line reference. Is it a what or a why question? Yes, this is a why question. So I'm going to write why here. Now go ahead and read 5 lines above and 5 lines below as you pause the video and underline, why do you think these lines were included? Is he trying, what did you underline? Type it in the box. All right. I underlined, but I submit where all is plain, there is nothing to be argued. So is he attempting to discuss criticisms of abolitionism, which he finds legitimate? Or is he introducing a perspective which he later refutes? So here, he is not discussing criticism of abolitionists. Now, this is deceptive language because he does mention abolitionists in some earlier lines. You may have actually underlined that line yourself. It's around line 43. But he does not find them legitimate because he says, in fact, there is nothing to be argued. I don't think there's anything to argue. So he is introducing this perspective, which he later refutes. And that is our correct answer. So watch out for that deceptive language. Question 14. This is one of our words in context questions. So do you remember what we do when we have these? We're going to go straight to line 50 and cross out the word light, replacing it with a word of your choice. Type the word you replaced it with in the box. All right, now we're going to look at our words. Does brilliance match what you put? No. Does enlightenment? Yes. So our correct answer is enlightenment. Okay. So this is another could be true. Yes, light can mean brilliance. But is that how it's being used in this sentence? No. So we're going to go with enlightenment. I would like you to complete questions 15 and 16 as trap answer practice before the next time I see you as well. And we will come back together on question number 16. You will also have a video showing you how to start working on your homework. So once I see you next time, you should have completed the basic approach practice. You should have completed the questions 15 and 16 in Mastering POE. And then there's 5 homework assignments online, which you can send me the screenshots of just like last time. And there will be a video explaining those as well. Feel free to contact me if you have any